All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Coyote Radio Show and Podcast. Les Blackwell's with us. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Getting over being sick, but
Yeah,
other than that, doing just fine.
yeah. Appreciate you being on the show. We easily could have just, waited till you felt better.
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm used to doing stuff while I'm sick anyhow.
Yeah. Um, yeah, man, I asked you to be on because I just want to hear your story and I like what you're doing online. You're fairly popular as far as social media goes and the whole TikTok thing
Yeah.
and all that. Um,
Yeah.
and I listen to your music through streaming platforms. And so, yeah, I just kind of want to get your whole story and what your future plans are as far as touring or music available to the public, that sort of thing.
Right. Well, I think I'm in a really interesting position. I think most people that have the amount of social media following I have already been doing shows for a long time and have been doing maybe tours. They got their own merch line or something like that. I think most people have that in the bag, but I've just been trying to document my travels the best I can for a long time. And I don't, I got set back in life, but and I'll get around to telling those stories. But I have a pretty massive amount of social media following for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. So the next step is what I should have already been doing, just trying to get shows, trying to organize tours, get some merch going on. And
Yeah.
that's my next endeavor, but I'm trying to save up for a vehicle right now. That's what's stopping a lot of it. Is just not having access to getting out to shows and whatnot.
Right. Huh. So if you could just start at the beginning, man. Where you born, raised from, or when did you hit the road?
Well, I was born in Dalton, Georgia. Um, it's a smallish town. You might call it a medium town after you've been to some small towns I've been to. But it's in the valley there, at the foothills of some mountains. It's a factory town, and they're known for their carpet mills, or at least they were before they all shut down. I was born there, and there weren't too much going on over there. I got in a lot of trouble, legally and otherwise, and through a set of circumstances that get ever so more complicated, I found myself on the street. And when I first got on the street, I was about 17. It was really traumatic, to be completely honest. Um, and I didn't know how to. There's ways of being homeless. You can be good at being homeless, and I was not good at being homeless. Um, you learn how to beg, you learn how to ask for money, you learn how to fly signs, do stuff like that. And I didn't know how to do any of that. So I just stayed in a little abandoned carpet mill for a while. And I was stuck by myself. I got so lonely at times that I would ask people what time it is just to have a social interaction. And they'd look up at me, and sometimes they'd yell at me or just completely ignore me, but they'd say, don't ask for my money. You get along or whatever. And I was just trying to see what time it was. I was just trying to talk to somebody. So that was a pretty rough time until I learned how to beg. And I had already been in some like punk and metal bands before that. And I knew how to play guitar. And I was sitting outside of a bar one night, and a guy came by with a resonator Gretsch guitar and asked if I could play, basically. And I played. I played as much as I could, and I made about $60 outside of that bar. The Oyster Pub is where I was in Dalton. Made about $60 throughout that entire night. And then I thought to myself, maybe I could get by doing this. You know what I mean? And yeah, from then I just started busking. I didn't even know what busking was. It was a small town, never heard of nothing like that. But I started busking, and I made my living like that. And Yeah, it's just been that ever really since. I went to my dad's house and it burnt down. And after that, I started traveling like crazy all over the place. I
How old are you now?
am 29. I was 17 when I first became homeless, and I didn't start hopping trains until I was about 20.
Okay.
Yeah,
Huh. So you, as far as busking goes, you were just hitting major cities, or what were you focusing on certain areas, or just wherever you have had to be at, or
well, for a time period, I was a bum, and then I was a tramp, and then I was what I would like to call a hobo. So a bum is just somebody that travels, doesn't really work much. A tramp is a guy that works when he needs to or when he wants to. And a bum or a hobo is somebody that travels for work. And I was just traveling for fun, and I'd busk wherever for a minute. I was just being a bum. Then I started to find out I could make more monies in some big cities, and I do that when I want. But for the past, I'd say 4 years, I've been a hobo. I've been traveling for work opportunities, and the work happens to be music.
huh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
been fun. I've tried to settle down here and there. It hasn't worked out yet, but maybe it
yeah.
will one day.
So where are you at now? You're in Kansas,
I'm in
right?
Kansas. Yeah, yeah, I'm in Kansas. I'm staying with Abby the Spoon Lady.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
most, yeah, most people that are in the position that I am in, being homeless, traveling, and whatnot, don't get the opportunity to just settle down somewhere until you can figure out your finances. And Abby the Spoon Lady has given me that opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Uh, well, tell her I said hi. I've actually reached out to have her on the show at some point too. And she said message her on an email or something. And I haven't done that yet, but I plan to have her on.
Yeah, I'm sure she would be on. She's incredibly busy sometimes. So incredibly busy.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to be that busy personally.
So, as far as your music, what's available out there's, there's some YouTube clips and some videos you jam with some people, and then you got any EP that's somewhat newer, which I really enjoy. By the way, it's really good. Uh,
Thank you.
so you just want
I did
to
that with my
focus on
brother.
like traditional music, or you have plans for other, like, what's your main goal?
So I do so I guess I would define myself as a folk artist, but I have a country, like a southern accent. So a lot of people assume that I do mostly country. I would say what I do is folk. I don't really mind being mislabeled too much though. Um, but I would like to bridge the gap between like a old time slash folk traditionalist artist and a singer songwriter. I'd like to bridge that gap and like kind of be taken seriously in both fields is what I would like to do.
Okay.
Um, I'm heavily inspired by both old time musicians, uh, traditional folk musicians, and singer songwriters of previous and current day. So I want to let those shine, um, and not necessarily independent of themselves. I want to mix those genres. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I'm after.
Yeah. Um, Name some names as far as artists go, like some inspiration or someone you draw from or really enjoy their music.
So personally, I'm very inspired by like Utah Phillips, Woody Guthrie, Pete Seeger. Those are some big folk influences. Towns Van Zant, singer songwriter stuff. Blaze Foley, one of my biggest. John Prine. those are kind of a good mix. Also, Dave Von Ronk, good '60s folk revival artist. Love Dave Von Ronk.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really listen to a lot of him. I should probably dive in.
Yeah, he's really great. He mixed a lot of blues and jazz into folk music in a really smooth way. He didn't just shoehorn it in. It really works. Really works.
Yeah. That's all the best thing about this whole podcast is really just when I talk to someone will mention someone I really don't listen to or maybe heard their name in passing, then I end up going down the rabbit hole because I'm a music junkie and
Yeah.
um,
Well, people have asked me who I'm inspired to write like my lyrics and
mhm.
whatnot. And Blaze Foley, Towns Van Zandt, and Hank Williams are big, huge influences that I think people expect. But one person people don't really expect is Connor Oberst from Bright Eyes. I'm not sure if you know who that is, but
Bright Eyes.
yeah, they're kind of like a indie folk kind of emo band, but
Okay.
they have
I actually know who it is.
yeah.
That's why you caught me off guard. You're right. Like I was like, is he talking about that? Uh,
Yeah, no, I love them, and I grew up in a gospel family, so I had plenty of gospel, plenty of country, in my childhood. But I grew up on Nirvana and Bright Eyes and My Chemical Romance and all that just as much. So I'm influenced by that as well.
yeah, that comes up constantly on these shows. A lot of the artists I talk to, their beginnings usually is in the punk rock metal scene, then they somehow land in the folk and bluegrass.
Yeah. There's a pipeline. Most of my buddies that play country or folk music, or even old time music, were and still are huge fans of like crust punk and street punk and hardcore and stuff like that. That there seems to be a pipeline.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of similarities if you think.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what I grew up on. So I mean, here I am. This is what I mainly listen to, but I definitely go back to the old stuff and then also see what's current in other genres as well. But old time
Mhm.
music is probably my favorite. Uh,
Old time.
yeah, yep.
That's great. I've been trying to get into more old time. Of course, my friend Dusty, who I did that album with, that little EP.
Hmm.
He's an amazing singer, an amazing picker. He does mostly old time music, and of course Abby does mostly old time, and they play together predominantly. And I've been trying to get more into old time, finding new artists. I recently found out about Hubby Jenkins, and
Yeah,
I've known about Nora Brown for a while, but I really got into her a few months ago.
yeah. She's
Banjo picker.
incredible.
Yeah, yeah. She started real early too. Makes me extremely jealous for her banjo picking skills.
That's crazy. So, before you found yourself in this position with Abby, I saw online that you had like a makeshift uh, camp set up. Where was that? Was that in Georgia or?
Oh no. I mean, uh, I've done that a lot of different places, but that's actually here. It's actually around here. I can't exactly say where, but it's here. Um, and I didn't build that. I just want, and she wanted me to let everybody know this too. Madeline, my girlfriend,
Mhm.
she's a better hobo than I am. She's the one that built all of that. I barely played any part in it. It was a lot of fun watching her build it, though. I'll tell you. I didn't build none of that. It's a great little campsite, though. She's got it set up with amenities. One of these days, she's going to put Wi-Fi in there. It's a good little jungle.
Wi-Fi out there. That'd be great. Yeah, I'm new to TikTok. I've been doing this podcast for a few years now, but I just never. I don't know. I don't have time for all of the social media stuff. Sometimes it's overwhelming. So I did set up a TikTok, and uh, I don't really post much on there, but I'm getting in there. But just seeing your journey on there has been really interesting, and I like following along and seeing where you're at. And
Well, thank you. I was doing TikTok for fun. I mean, a lot of the social media stuff just started out for fun, just like playing music did. Um, but I posted one TikTok where this girl was talking about how her life sucks because her friend didn't like her music, and it was just it's just a privileged pop singer just talking about how her life sucks in various different ways. And I stitched that video on TikTok and said, well, I've been homeless and I've been rained on and I've been this, that, and everything. Is like, I'm just lucky when I get a sandwich to eat at night. Just kind of making fun of her. I didn't mean to be too, I wasn't trying to be too rude to her, but I was just poking a little fun, and that video blew up. It got 6.2 million views now.
damn.
And yeah, it went legitimately viral for a minute. And I thought I had my career set. I thought everything was going to be fine. I went viral, and it was great. A lot of people did check out my music. I made a few fans from it, and it set my TikTok account for more people to see it eventually. But after about 3 or 4 months of going viral on TikTok, it didn't mean much.
Yeah.
And I realized I gotta keep going. I gotta keep posting. And I reckon about every 3 months on TikTok, I make a video, and it's always the video I'm like, I probably shouldn't post this. It's bad, or I don't like it. I think it's stupid. But I'd say about every 3 months, I get a video on there that gets thousands and thousands of views. And then some of them just get maybe 1,000, maybe less than 1,000.
Yeah.
So it's really a mess.
How big's your following on TikTok?
On TikTok, I think I don't remember, but I think I hit 120,000.
120,000.
Yeah,
Wow.
120,000.
I think I got 40.
40K or just
40
40?
total. Like I said, I just started, okay?
Yeah, like
I don't
40K is
think
pretty
I'm planning
good.
on making viral videos, but you never know.
Well, it's about consistency. I have not, unfortunately, been able to be very consistent. I am now. I treat social media as, one part of a job, and my job is my music career. Um, so I have to work with it. I post videos usually once every other day, if not every day, on 2 or 3 different kinds of social media apps, and I live stream every morning except for Sunday morning. Sometimes I do it on Sunday if I feel like it, but I live stream every day and play some banjo on TikTok, and the consistency has been great. It's just beforehand when I was on the street, I can't be on TikTok if my fingertips are frozen. You know what I mean? I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to worry about power and my cell phone and whatnot. It's hard to be out there on the street and be consistent with stuff.
Right. Huh. So as far as do you have a bunch of songs in your back pocket waiting to record and eventually get out to the public, or?
Too many, honestly, too many. I've got uh too many songs for me to really try and count. Um, and I know this sounds like a good problem to have, especially if you're a singer songwriter. Listen to this right now. I know you're not going to understand, or maybe you will. I hope you don't. But I keep writing them. I keep writing them, and I finish them. But instead of learning my own song, it's like I go back every few months, and there's like 8 songs staring me in the face that are just beautiful, like really nice songs. If I don't say so myself. And I got to relearn them because I done wrote like 10 or 20 other songs.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where I feel like I shine. I don't feel like I'm the greatest singer. I don't feel like I'm the greatest picker. Um, I don't feel like I'm the greatest looking, but I write a lot of songs. I write a lot of songs.
Hmm.
So organizing albums is really a process of elimination and trying to find what songs sound the best. And then, I'm dealing with not the best equipment most times trying to record it. But
I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially in like the genre and the world that you're from, you know. I love that stripped back, raw, people have connection with that stuff. The really clean, polished records, can sometimes just become just like this plastic thing.
yeah, there's and I'm not going to name any names because I still like their music and them as artists, but there's a lot of artists that I like that have some, they've got their money up and they go to these nice studios, and honestly, it's still great music, but man, if it was recorded in a can, it'd sound so much better. I just I don't like that kind of sound. So I'm trying to find the in between place of because some of my old stuff on Spotify really is not the greatest quality. Some of it was recorded on like a real cheap cell phone, and it's just the best I could do at the time. So I'm trying to do at least better than that.
But yeah, that last EP that you did with Dusty, that sounds good.
Oh, that was a really fun one. That was me and Dustin just testing out what we could do together. See, he plays a little different, sings a little different, but he's the one that really, really inspired me to do the busking and inspired me to push forward with my music career. But yeah, me and him both got a gig playing at Loretta Lynn's ranch in Tennessee. And while we were there, our friends that were housing us out there were a part of the whole event. Had recording equipment, and we were like, you know what? Let's just record 4 songs real quick, see what it's like. And it worked out. It's called the New Johnsonville Gold Tones because it was in New Johnsonville, and me and him both were playing gold tone banjos.
That's great. Yeah, I didn't know the backstory on that. That's pretty cool. I have never
Yeah,
been there to her place. Always wanted to in
it's
Tennessee.
big.
That's big.
It's big. It's big. It was really nice. It was really nice. Really, really nice folk around there.
Yeah.
The sound guy, the sound guy talked to us about country swing music
Hmm.
and funk music, and was relating the two of them. And it was almost philosophical conversation about country swing and or western swing and funk music. It was a ridiculous conversation. It was great.
Sometimes those are the best ones.
Mm-hmm. Old fellow was getting it.
Yeah. So what would you say was a good day out busking as far as money?
Depends on what I need, I guess. But let's say if I am doing what I call bum busking, which is where I'm at a grocery store, a gas station, something like that, I expect 20 to 30 bucks an hour. But if I'm like in Asheville, Nashville, the Villes, New Orleans, something like that, New York or something, I'm expecting it's down real bad if I'm making like 80 bucks an hour. If I'm not making like 90, I'm like 90 to 100 bucks an hour. It's really not worth it for me. I mean, I'll still play, but like I'm not getting it good. But that's what I expect because it's skilled labor that you can't do for too long. My voice is a not very expendable thing. I can't just play for hours and hours and hours. I can sit there and play the same song on my banjo for hours and hours, but I don't expect to make that kind of money if I'm just doing one song on banjo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I expect a decent amount of money because I can't keep it up for too long.
Okay. Huh.
But there's especially traveling. Um, there's maintenance on my instrument and making sure I have a good case for it and everything. But if I'm really hitting the hard road, it doesn't really matter. I make $10 playing at a gas station for 7 hours. Like that's, some smokes and a sandwich. Hopefully, actually, I don't think it is anymore. It need to be at least
Yeah,
20
not
bucks.
anymore. Just whatever it takes to get by onto the next. How far have you went out and traveled west? Have you been out to like Reno or?
Yeah, I've been to Reno. I haven't been to Vegas, but I've been to Reno. I've been to Elko out in Nevada. I think that's the only places I've been in Nevada. I've been to California. Didn't have the greatest of times. Um, uh, we did not mean to get to LA, but we did. So that wasn't that great. I was listening to a lot of Guy Clark through California, but uh, yeah, I think let's see. There's only a few places I haven't been. North and South Dakota, I have not been. I'm trying to think of them. There's 4 states I haven't been to in America. I can't think of them right now, except for North and South Dakota.
Alaska, Hawaii?
Oh yeah, those don't count. They do count. They do count. Yeah, I haven't been to Alaska or Hawaii. One day,
Yeah, I
one
always want to
day.
go up to Alaska, run around, visit and sightsee and all that good stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, it'd be great.
Uh,
Seeing new places, new faces is all a part of it. I've done it for a while now, so eventually it does get a little old, but
yeah,
that's a big part of doing what I do for so long. Well, I've been doing it for so long.
yeah. What you got any really cool train stories you could share? Everyone loves good old fashioned train stories, you know.
There's a lot of them I really need to compile into a little thing. I'd like to get real good at storytelling. Not sure how good I am at it now, but there's one. Um, you said this is edited, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, cool. Am I good to talk about guns or insinuate a gun?
Yeah, you can talk about whatever you want.
Okay. Uh, so I was in Florida and we're in Jacksonville, Florida. This is with my ex, not my current girlfriend. Um, and we hopped a train. We were trying to get to Atlanta, Georgia, and we had been on there for a while because the train was going slow. We were in a unit, and we basically ran out of all of our food. What we had left when we sided out was a vodka bottle that was filled with instant coffee. Um, that's all we had. I didn't drink at the time. At that time, I think I was about 2 years completely sober. But she did. She drank enough for both of us. Promise. And So we decided to get off the train. She was drunk, of course. So we got off the train, and there was this like farmland with fence posted, no trespassing all over it. Note the type of no trespassing signs that had bullet shells on them and whatnot. And she was from California, so I guess people from California don't pay attention to those signs as much as Georgians do. But she was like, "I'm going to hop that fence," and I was like, "You can't hop that fence." And she's like, "Well, we need to find out where we are. I'm going to hop that fence." And I was like, "We could walk for just a little bit and find a fence that doesn't say all that on it." And she's like, "I've done this 1,000 times or whatever." And it's like, you have not been in the Southeast. It's different. But she did hop it. She did hop it. And I had my Superman lover boy moment. Well, she's probably going to die. She's probably going to get shot by somebody. But if she is, so am I. So I hopped the fence too and ran behind her. And she knocked on the door, and there's dogs barking and all that. She knocked on the door and she said, "Where are we? We just want to know what state we're in." A lady opened the door and she was like, "Georgia," and slammed it. So we hopped back over that fence. We didn't get shot. We didn't get bit, but we hopped back over that fence, and we were just going to try to walk into town. We didn't know where town was. Neither of us had cell phones that were on. At least I didn't have one. But we're walking down the road trying to figure out how to get to town. And there's a truck driving towards us. And we were like, okay, let's wave this guy down. We'll see what's going on. See where town is. Maybe he'll give us a ride or something. So we were just waving, kept coming towards us, kept waving. Guy kept coming towards us faster. I realized that he was not slowing down. He was getting faster. Truck kept getting faster and faster and tried to run over us. Missed us, didn't run us over. But out pops this 10,000-year-old looking man. Pops a pistol out from like the 1800s, starts waving around like this at us. Couldn't hold still. And he's like, "What are y'all doing? What's going on?" Because the lady had called her grandfather or something to come get us off of her property. And and he was like, "What are you all doing here?" And we're like, "We hopped through that train. We just hopped off of it. We're just trying to get water. We're trying to get into town." He's like, "What, you want me to feel bad for you?" And he grabbed my hat. I had a really nice bowler hat. And he grabbed my hat, threw it on the ground, stomped all over it. Made me mad, but I knew better. I knew better. I didn't do nothing.
Man,
And
that's hard to do. Hard to
yeah,
hold yourself there.
yeah, especially my hat. But he popped out. He whipped out his jitterbug phone. He's trying to call 911 and he couldn't. And he was standing there doing this, holding this pistol, trying to dial on his cell phone. And he was like, "Call the cops for me because I can't." So I had to dial 911 on myself while this old man was waving this pistol around at me. And the cops came, and they're like, "Who's been drinking? Because you both smell like a bar." And I had not been. Ray, my girlfriend, Tom, she was like, "Yeah, I definitely have been." They breathalyzed test me, and they liked me, and they knew I wasn't lying because they breathalyzed test me. And she was very, very drunk. She accidentally flashed the cops when she opened up her jacket to get the vodka bottle out to show them. Yeah, they sat me down. They sat me down, and they're just trying to call the railroad company. They couldn't really get a hold of them. Uh, but while we were waiting there, I played them two songs, and they let us go. They let us
Really?
go. Yeah, didn't get us in trouble. They said that they got a hold of the railroad company and that we were banned for 3 years off their property. I know that's not how they go. That's not what happens when you get caught. So I knew they couldn't actually get a hold of them. But yeah, I played them some songs. They let us go, and they're like, "You need to get out of town because the folks around here do not like your kind, and it's not safe for you to sleep on the street." And we heeded that warning. We got into town. We found a soup kitchen, and the lady that runs it basically was like, "Yeah, the cops were right. It's not safe here." And she felt so bad for us that she gave us a ride to Atlanta that night, her and her husband. So that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'd say
One
so.
of the crazy stories. I
Yeah,
mean, it was down for what it's worth, but
just knowing that guy trying to hold a pistol and he's shaking like that,
yeah, yeah.
accidentally pull the trigger, and it's like, can you just point that at the ground until we figure this out?
Well, he was pointing at everything, so it didn't. I don't know. He only had about 10% chance of hitting me, but still.
Oh man, yeah, that would be quite the trip. Yeah, you should compile all these and write a book or something, or I'm sure you slowly share them on your social media or something. Or
I do. I get backlash for it though. Like that story that was in Rockmart, Georgia, and everybody that's seen that lives in Rockmart, Georgia, um, would comment on, not everybody. A few people from Rockmart was like, "Yeah, that checks out," but whew, sorry, too much coffee too fast. But a lot of folks from Rockmart, Georgia, were like, "My town would never do that. We're nice here, or what have you." It's like, of course, because you're from there. You live in that small town. You're not foreign to that town. They treat foreigners a little different.
yeah, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I'm here in about 30 minutes south of Indianapolis, and I don't know. Just I guess it depends on the area. Most people are pretty kind of like whatever, but there's some areas that you might not want to go to. But
Yeah, I mean, most places, I think traveling has definitely taught me. I've seen the depths of human depravity and violence from it, but I've also seen the depths of human kindness, and I think on average, um, people are more kind than they are mean. I
yeah,
think when people are mean or violent or just rude, it sticks out more than when somebody is kind. I think people tend to pick up on negativity easier than they do positivity, unfortunately. But that's like a threat sensor.
right. Yeah. No, I totally agree. But yeah, you
But
got
on average,
go ahead.
I think on average, I think people are just kind in general. People have helped me out when they really had no need to. When people have literally given me the shirt off of their back before. People in America, at least, I haven't traveled any other country. People in America are extremely nice folks on average.
Yeah, that's good. The you have that one video, I think it's pinned on your Instagram, where that girl comes up and asks if you had a home and she hugged you.
Oh
That's the
yeah,
sweetest little story ever.
yeah.
Did that one go viral? I mean, that one should have went viral.
I mean, it didn't go viral. I think viral, the technical term or what have you, means it gets, I think, at least 1 million views in under 24 hours. But
Oh,
it got thousands of views. It did blow up, what they call it. The video did blow up. It got a lot of views. And then another one. is I was busking Christmas Eve at a Circle K. That's my joint. I always busk at Circle K's. But I was busking, and this little pup that had it was like wet all over the place, and I suppose it was crying. And it was frozen where it was wet. It had like crystals on his fur and all that. He was running around, and I was like, "What happened?" And I just eventually convinced this pup to jump in my lap. Um, and nobody came for it. I waited there for like 2.5 hours, and nobody came to try and pick him up. Nobody was yelling for a dog. I asked people, and so I was like, I guess I'm gonna try to save this pup. And I was asking, I was holding money. I'd made like a few 20s and a five, and I was holding money, waving money to people, and been like, hey, I'm not asking you for money. Can you take this money and give him something to eat? Because I all my stuff's set up. I can't go in there right now, especially with this dog. And people were ignoring me, assuming that I was asking them for money, even though I had money in my hand. Um, and a few people even stopped and was like, "What's going on?" And I told them to try and uh, give me some food in there. I'll pay for it. And they're like, "No, I'm too busy." And eventually somebody did get some food for the dog. I got the dog some food. My friend Jesse picked it up. Um, and a few days later, after Christmas, we found somebody through TikTok. We found somebody to come and pick the dog up and give it a really nice life. But yeah, that's my Christmas or uh, Christmas Eve pup story. I saved a little Christmas puppy.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
Where was
it
that
was
at?
really nice. That was in Dalton. I was visiting. I try to. I'm not sure if I can this year because I'm trying to work on getting the vehicle. But every year I try and visit my mom for Christmas. Me and her for the longest didn't have a great relationship, um, or one at all for a minute. But now we've worked on getting our relationship back together. And
Good,
yeah, I love my mom.
good.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. There was something else I was going to ask you, and I totally forgot. You threw me off with that one. You said something.
That's fine.
I don't know. It will come to me. Shit.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
I can't wait to see how things pan out for you. Now, the vehicle situation, is that like you're saving up or working towards like something to actually tour in, like a van? Is that what you're after? Or
so yes, essentially. But um, if I can get enough to get a vehicle just to get to some shows, um, I might just take that. But I'm gonna try to start a GoFundMe. I'm not sure when I'll be able to figure out how to do that, but I'm gonna try to start that. Because me and Madeline both we have a dog. His name is Hobo. I might make him a social media because he deserves to be famous. But we're trying to get an ambulance because we thought about it for a while. We want to convert an ambulance because an ambulance we wouldn't have to insulate it ourselves. It's already insulated. You can stand up in an ambulance. It's already got compartment space, and it's a vehicle is going to be tough. It's an ambulance. It's got to be. So I don't even know how to drive, and neither does Madeline. So I got to learn how to drive, and I got to save up for hopefully an ambulance. Um, and yeah, that's kind of my number one priority right now.
yeah. So you just
Yep.
never learned how back in the day, didn't take the test, or just hit the streets at
No,
17
I
and not
mean,
worry about it.
yeah. I kind of come from um, this word is kind of overused and underused, but for lack of a better term, I come from a broken home. where I didn't have too many advantages. So riding, I didn't learn how to ride a bike until I was 21. So yeah, definitely learning to drive or getting a vehicle when I was younger was just not in the cards. Not in the cards. My uncle did try to teach me how to drive once, and it was my recent. He tried to teach me in my recently passed away grandfather's car, so or truck. So I was driving my recently passed away grandfather's truck, and I I still had bad anxiety, but especially back then, I had horrible anxiety. So he was yelling at me to do all this different stuff, and I was trying, and I ended up before the garage door actually opened, I ended up backing out of it real fast, and then um, I was like, okay, let me out. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm freaking out. And he's like, no, do this, do that, do this. And then I rammed the truck into the garage while the garage door was closing, and then out again and back in it one more again. And then I backed up the final time, and he was like, okay, we got to figure this out. And my grandmother was like, no, I think he's done driving. He's done driving for right now. You can try this somewhere else off my property and out of that truck. It didn't completely destroy the garage or the truck, thank God, but it did cause some damage.
That reminds me of a funny story with my grandpa. He put me behind the wheel on his truck when I was a kid. I couldn't even reach the pedal, so I got on his lap and he'd let me steer. And somehow I put us in the ditch. We're out on like the main roads where cars are and everything. Just let me just go for it. And he's like, well, if you wreck, you wreck. It's your fault. And I had to tell him when to
Yeah.
brake and when to gas. Damn.
Yeah. I mean, before like I said, I've tried to settle down here and there, and before I wind up on the street, and a few times during my travels, I've got to play some video games, and I like playing video games a good bit. And I reckon if I can play some video games, I should be able to learn how to drive. I
Oh
think
yeah.
it's like essentially the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Let's hope, let's hope so.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. And I'm just I've tried being on the hard road, traveling on foot, and making it out to shows and planning them. And I'm already pretty bad with being late to things, trying to get better at it. But yeah, just it's hard to be on foot and try to make it to shows and try to be prepared for all of that. Um, I'm lucky that I do folk and country music. I don't really need anything other than myself and a guitar and two mics. That's all I need. I don't have a whole big fancy setup. So I'm
Right.
lucky in that. But just getting there has been the hardest part of me getting shows.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, the GoFundMe thing, I'm sure people would want to help you get out on your feet or on the road. Hell, I got
Yeah.
connections to cheaper vehicles that are easy access, but I just know how reliable they would be. That's the problem. You'd be breaking down all the time, and that's not good.
Well, well, uh, Madeline, the one that's made that making that hobo jungle camp. She's pretty good at working on cars. She just don't know how to drive. She traveled with somebody that drove, and they would drive, and she would fix the vehicle. So she says she's her only thing is that I can't get a Ford. She wants a Chevy, but anything other than a Ford, she'll take
Yep.
vehicle wise.
Man, I hope
She
that
knows how
works
to
out.
work. I'm sure it will. To a certain extent, it doesn't have a choice to be. I'm going to end up getting a vehicle one way or the other, learning how to drive.
Yeah.
So it's a way I've learned to look at things as they just kind of work out. Even if they don't, they do still.
Yeah, they just work out in a different way than you imagined or planned. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, Les. Well, man, like I said, I appreciate you jumping on here and just kind of chatting with me about things. Is
Of
there
course.
anything you wanted to share or get across to the people that might be listening?
Um, well, I do have I do, I'm horrible at promoting it. People tell me to make one all the time, but I have a Patreon. If anybody wants to subscribe to my Patreon, I'm working on putting some new stuff out there. Generally, I didn't do it with the EP because that's not just my music, it's also Dustin's. But generally, every time I'm going to put out some music, I'll put out a little bit of it, if not all of it, on my Patreon before I put it on Spotify or Bandcamp or anything like that. I put it out there, and I usually make some or all of it downloadable for free. So there's that. And I'm also going to be posting longer form content there. So my Patreon, and yeah, just stream my music, check out my videos. Like I said, I go live every morning on TikTok. So yeah.
Awesome. All right, man. We'll be in touch for sure. I'll keep up with you, and if you make it through Indy or ever get that vehicle lined up, let me know. I'd love to have you out here for a show, book you somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I was just a little bit underprepared for this mentally. No, not through any fault of yours, but just mentally. I feel like it's a little bit chatty, but I did really enjoy this. I'd like to do it again sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Get with me. Once you have an album that's ready to be dropped or released, yeah, get with me. We'll talk about it.
I'm working on that. I'm working on that, so that'd be great.